Hello and welcome back to my channel, McKleans-Scripts, where I am here to help and show you guys how to run your FiveM GTA roleplay server. So right now what I'm going to be going over is some good ways to manage your files, to manage all your scripts, especially if you are starting to build up a development team or a staff team, and you want to protect your files essentially, because there's been so many developers or so many server owners, so many people who have brought on someone to help out and have lost everything because someone has deleted files or edited stuff that is completely wrong, don't know what they're doing, and they're just messing with it. So let's try and stop that, and let's try and keep our files safe. So hopefully in the first episode, last episode, I asked you guys to make sure you create yourself a GitHub account, because you're going to be using that GitHub account quite a bit to download files, to do all sorts of things, and today is going to be one of the biggest things that you're going to use GitHub for. So what I want you guys to do is go over to GitHub, create yourself an account if you haven't done so already. Next thing, and you might have to Google this because I can't remember if it actually shows you straight on GitHub or not, but you might have to Google this. But in the top right here you see your little image, your icon. You click that and you should see one here that says your organizations. Again, if you don't see that, Google how to create an organization on GitHub. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and then on GitHub, when you Google it, you will see the link, it will take you there, you can create one. Create yourself an organization, okay? All your organizations will be kept here. Once you have one, say for me, example, I use this one, McKlean-RP. Okay, you want to click new, and you want to create a new, and this is going to be a repository, okay? This is what they're called. All these, they're called repositories. You're going to create a new repository. Alright? Once you've created that repository, okay, what I want you to now do is Google GitHub desktop app. I'm just going to use this one for example. So, oh, it didn't come over. There we go. So, GitHub desktop app looks like this. Okay, this is going to be very helpful, very useful for you, especially if you are running your server on a VPS. Even if you aren't, still have this with your team. And the reason why, because it has this thing called version control. Okay, every time you make changes in your files, I'm going to use this for example, it's got loads of changes in it. You can see there's changes there, and if you click history, you can see all the changes, and it goes back. Look, 4 months ago, I could go back to like 6, a year, 2 years. I can go back a very long time on all these changes. Okay, it's called version control. You want to have these version controls, and when you click on these, you can see the changes that have been made. The reds are what it was, and the green is what it is now. So you're going from this to this. Okay, these are your changes, and these are very helpful. They're very useful to have. Alright, if if someone submits a change and it's broken your whole server, right, you can go into here, into history, you right click it and you click revert change. Okay, and that will undo the changes, revert them, come back, and you can revert changes that were like months ago. Okay, so 100% worth getting. Alright, but now how do you get your repo from GitHub here into the app? Because it doesn't just automatically connect, it doesn't. Okay, so once you've got your repo, let me say for this one, McLean Dev, let me just click this for example. Okay, you have all your files. Alright, now you do need to be careful, because with something like your server.cfg file, which has some data in like your server key and a few other things, you might not want some developers or whatnot to see, so that file you might not put on here, and that's what we use the git.ignore, so the .gitignore file and in here you can put all files that you want it to ignore. Okay. But here what we do is we click this green button, okay, and when there's a link here, you're gonna copy that link, you're gonna bring the app over, okay, you're gonna click file, and you click clone repository. Alright, in here URL on this one, you're gonna paste that link in there, and then you're gonna choose the folder where you want that to be. Alright, I'm not gonna do it because I've already done it, but you're gonna choose where you want that to be. Okay, and then once you've done that, it will show up in this list here, okay, as dev server, and you will have, like, if you got changes, this won't show unless you've made a change in a file, okay, but you will have the changes over here. If you click on it, it will show you what it is on this side, okay, and then you can click history. Alright, at the top here you have fetch, okay, you can click fetch. So what I'll do is I'll show you on this file here, okay. It says pull origin, okay, it's showing a 1. That means someone from my team has pushed something through, okay. So I'm gonna pull it through on my end. I'm gonna pull it through here. I've pulled it through, okay, and then I can, like, fetch is just looking to see if there is any, okay. There isn't any. Alright, so something like this, if I've done whatever it is that needs to be done, I can click submit to main, okay, and then it says push origin up there or here. I can click that and that will push to my team. If I wasn't ready to push that and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to click that, I don't want to click that, down here there's an undo button. Just click undo and it all comes back, okay, all comes back. Alright, however, you need to also talk to your team. Make sure that you always click fetch before you click the commit. And the reason why I say that is because if someone's pushed something to you and then you try and commit that out, it's gonna cause a conflict, and then you might have files being overwritten by other files and you could cause issues, and it's a problem if you want to revert in the future. Okay, so next thing, right, looking at files. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open up my Visual Studio Code, okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how it looks now. So this is my Visual Studio Code, okay. On the left here I have all my files, okay, you can see them here. Look, you can see all my QB files here. Alright, all my files, my scripts here, okay, and they're great, right? They're good to have, they're there, but we're gonna open up a new one, okay. We want to be able to get all these in here. How do we do that? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our folder here. You can see this one's empty, there's nothing in it, okay, nothing in it. So what we do is we go to where our folder is at, and we're just going to grab, so this has got all the files in it, we're going to grab the entire folder and we're going to drag it in. When we do that, it's got all the files here, okay, all the files. I just closed the wrong one. Let me drag that in again. There you go, you click that and there you go, you got all the files there, okay. So now all those files are here. When it's connected to my GitHub thing, any edit I make in these files will show in here, and then I can push it, and then you can go to the website if you want to, and you can see the changes made here. So like this, changes, okay, and it tells you when the changes were, how many commits, who made the change. So you make sure that all your developers have their own accounts. You come to the settings here, you add them in as mods or admins to your GitHub, and then they can make changes, and you can see who made changes, okay. Now before I go on to anything else with files, the other thing to look at is extensions, okay, also known as add-ons for Visual Studio Code. On here you got these little squares, click this, you got these extensions. Alright, now click this one up. Okay, these are your recommended, but you want to add, these don't all come downloaded with it. You want to add these, okay? So ones you want to download is stuff like Git history. You shouldn't need to pull request one, but Git history, FiveM Lua, FiveM natives, compare it, bracket pair color, always a good one. If I scroll down here, you got Lua there. Prettier is great. Rainbow End is also great. And these are great for reasons I'll get to in a minute. So now we're going to go back up here to the Explorer, okay, and we'll look at our QB files. Here's all our QB files, okay. So you're going to spend a lot of time in this folder here, the QB core file. Then you go to the shared file, and here you have your gangs, items, jobs. They're going to be, and your weapon, vehicles and weapons. They're going to be your main 5 files. So let's go into your items. This is how it looks. This is actually an older version of how it looks. They've changed how this is now. This is an older version, but it still works and it's still great. You'll spend a lot of time in here. As you can see, all the brackets are different colors. Like you've got these purple ones here and you've got these blue ones here. So this is where all your items. So just to bear in mind, a lot of people make this mistake in this file. When you add new items, let's say for example you go all the way to the bottom. Okay, yes, I have a lot of items. You come all the way to the bottom. You do not go enter and start adding your items here. Okay, you do not do that. You need to bring this bracket down, right, and then you can start making your items here. Okay, it doesn't matter whether they line up perfectly. I have it, well, you can see a little bit not lined up there, but I have it all kind of lined up perfectly like this, just because that's how I like it. I'm a bit of a clean freak in my code. I like it to be clean like that. But yeah, so with this, you just do it above this yellow bracket here. Okay, always do it above the yellow bracket. Alright. The other great thing about Visual Studio Code, so I'm gonna bring this down because you can't see it, but when you make edits up here where the cross usually is, it turns into a white dot. That white dot basically means that you've made a change and it's not saved. So right now there's no white dot. If I click enter and type, you can see there's a white dot. It's because it's not saved. Your gangs layout, same thing. If you scroll down to the bottom, the yellow bracket at the bottom, so blue, purple, yellow. Again, you might not see these different colors unless you have the brackets pair, but you would put a comma on this purple one here and you put your new gang, whatever the name of it is, you put the new gang in. Okay, and that's how you make a new one. Always remember your commas. Loads of people forget the commas. Alright, and you're gonna have the same with your jobs, and you're gonna have the same with your vehicles, and you're gonna have the same with your weapons. Alright, so yeah, you might see a couple files here that you don't have, and that's just because I have removed some files, just because I don't need them or don't want them. And I'm going to go over the a folder layout of how I prefer it, and this is completely personal to myself. So as I said, you're going to go into your file, txadmin, into whatever you called it, and go to resources. In this file here, the files you get given are these two: QB, standalone, and voice. Okay, those 5 files are the only ones you get given. Everything else you see in here I have added. Alright, I have this offline one because the QB scripts that I removed I put into this folder just in case that I want them again later. I know I can go to the GitHub and download them, but they're also just there and I can grab them. Okay, Ox, I use Ox door lock, Oxlib, and Ox target. I have in their own folder just so they load where I need them to load, and just so they're separate, and I prefer them separate. Maps I have separate because you will have like 20-30 files in here, no doubt. So if you want to group up scripts, you have to put it into this bracket. So in here I've got all the GABS maps, and then I've got them grouped in activities, businesses, emergency, gangs. See what I mean? I'm quite trying to keep things organized as much as possible. And then in here again, what I might do is create a new folder, save for someone else, GNN, you know, you'd put brackets GNN, and then potentially, you know, Patouche, you know, another map maker, and you'll do that and then put their maps in those folders. Then I have scripts. I put QB ones. I always recommend the QB core framework files. Okay, not if they have QB at the beginning, just if they are on their framework GitHub. Keep in this folder. Do not take them out of that folder. Do not put scripts into that folder. Keep them in that folder. Then create a scripts folder. In here you can then ignore that clothing one. I would actually, sorry, sidetracked. I would make a clothes folder like this, and in here have all your clothing. I have this one because this is actually a script. It's not clothes, it's a script. But in here I would then have this, and if you have files that have QB written at the beginning, or QB-extra or something like that, you know, you'll figure it out. And then just group up your scripts like that. That's what I do. Jigsaw here is all of Jim and Taylor's scripts. In here, Gym consumables has to be started first before any of these scripts. So what I do is I put a folder at the top saying start first, and then it sits up there, starting before all of these. Okay. These are my scripts that I've made, and then there's Snipe's admin menu, which I prefer, I like, so I use that, and then the appearance file. A reason why I say put the creator's name in is because sometimes when you're looking for a file, you know the creator, you might know the creator of that file, because you get to know your files as you put them in. So I put the creators' names in there. Sometimes what I might do is I might have a folder called MISC, you know, and do that. I have done in the past, also done like, you know, emergency with the brackets, or, you know, gangs, you know, kind of like that. I have done that in the past, which is also a good idea, and, you know, organizes your files. So really quick, before we finish this video, I'm going to go over one last thing on how. So these files, if you add this file in right now, you'll probably find none of your files will load, and there's a reason for that. And the reason why is because you're server.cfg. Okay, I'm not going to show you the top section of this because it shows my server ID code, but the top section basically is just going to cover, I can go up here, basically like your server project name like this, your description, and then you can set some things like this in that show basically on the right hand side before you open up the server. Okay, so if you are using aluminum appearance, you will need to put this into your server.cfg. I would recommend using this appearance because it's better than QB clothing. Using target is your third eye, this little eye that shows in the middle of the screen when you want to do stuff. So you want to set that to true. It might come as default false. Okay, leave these as they are. Coming down here, you got your load order. Okay, this is what it's called. It's called a load order, of what order you load them in. Okay, and you want to put leave these at the top. Or you might need to add oxlib if you're using ox. Add oxlib before QB core. Then you ensure the ox folder before QB, and then you have your scripts ensured, your standard load ensured. And then if you're using any of these, like I sometimes put a folder for props, clothes, and vehicles. You add them all in like that. So without the hashtag does what we call a comment. and a comment is different for every type of file. So a comment in this file is a hashtag, in Lua files is 2 dashes, which you'll see later. But yeah, if you're using certain map creators, they might require you to ensure their stuff separately. So this is from Gabs, this is from Maps for All, and then I have my actual maps folder ensured there. And then you've got your ACE permissions, and basically these ACE permissions here are to allow people to have admin commands, such as, so this is my admin menu from Snipe, so I can't access that unless I have those admin command permissions in the file there, and I can't do stuff like slash commands like this, you know, or I can't spawn in vehicles like this without those permissions. So I need those permissions for that. Okay, and then you might need some other permissions here for other scripts. Okay, so that's your server.cfg file. Alright, and then as I explained with the, I don't have the git ignore file, but the git ignore file basically, when you're in here, say if I wanted to ignore this readme, I can go to here, ignore file, add to .gitignore, and then that file will get ignored and it won't come through this, therefore it won't send to other people. You just have to be aware that because other people don't have that file that you've git ignored, there's a chance that things might not load for them. Hopefully that's a good brief example. If you need me to make a more in-depth video on this, please let me know in the comments below, because I can go at it at a bit slower pace. I can actually probably create a repo on the GitHub and actually go through it properly, or not properly, but slower and step by step, and show you some of the stuff that could happen along the way. If you like this video, please drop a thumbs up, please consider subscribing, and let me know what kind of other videos that you would like to see. Yeah, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.